Well, good evening, everybody. So again, welcome to our August 2026 ASQ Innovation Division presentation for tonight. AI called and it wants its quality department back. I'm your guest speaker, Dr. Rhonda Farrell, stepping in for Alejandro. So my background, as you can see on our screen tonight, is to support ASQ over a couple decades now, both locally at the section level, across multiple divisions, some special projects at the TCC and GCC level, and now supporting you tonight with kicking off our August webinar. My background is inclusive of engineering, quality and excellence related, change management, as well as cybersecurity and workforce readiness. They really all coalesce in this new world of AI, innovation, and automation to help drive efficiencies, productivities, and drive higher rates of innovation across enterprises. So again, we will kick off our presentation. Let me just move over to this. And here we go, folks. So again, as you noticed, this is all about why quality professionals may be the AI leaders we've been looking for. So before we begin, some of you may have noticed something unexpected. I am definitely not Alejandro, and he sends his regards, but he could not be here tonight because he is elevating. He has joined a new career opportunity and they are elevating him. And so I agreed to step in as Alejandro moves forward. So technically, that means tonight's presentation is already our first quality case study. We had a supplier issue. We activated our contingency plan, we reassigned resources, and ta-da, the show is going on and production continues. And because this is the innovation division, we are not calling this a last-minute substitution. We are calling it agile resource reallocation. So see, we're already innovating and we're 2 minutes in. So behind this slightly ridiculous title, AI called, it wants its quality department back, is really a serious question. Because what if truly the people best equipped to help our organizations and enterprises successfully implement and operate AI are already sitting in their quality portions of their organizations or throughout? Now we just need to get them to see us. So think about what AI needs most of right now. What's at the top of executives' minds and our managers and our leaders? Measurement, check. Validation, check. Governance, check. Risk management, check. Process discipline, check. Statistical thinking, root cause analysis, monitoring, evidence, and continuous improvement, check. Quality professionals hear the list of desired capabilities from within their organizations, and we say, whoa, wait a minute. You've just reinvented quality and put AI in front of it. We're absolutely gold now. So while the algorithms of our technologies may be new, and the technology is certainly evolving quickly forward, but at the root of determining whether something is reliable, repeatable, controlled, capable, measurable, safe, and fit for purpose, well, us quality professionals across the globe have been doing that for decades. So tonight, I'm making a simple case. Quality should not be standing at the end of an AI implementation asking, did it work? Our quality professionals should be right smack at the beginning, saying, how are we going to get this right the first time? So the truth is, everybody wants AI. The CEO is saying, we need AI. The CIO is saying, we bought that AI, or the CFO is too. The CIO and the data scientists together are saying, we built AI and we're operating it. And then that quality professional walks into the room or the executive and asks, great, but does it actually work as intended? And suddenly our rooms get a little bit quieter, because that's the most important question we could be asking anyone. The objective isn't to have AI and promulgate the fact that you bought it and you implemented it. Nobody receives an operational excellence award because they successfully purchased and implemented a chatbot, right? The objective is to make something better, to drive value for the organizations. So we need to be thinking, as people are focused on purchasing and implementing AI, how can we make better decisions? How can we generate fewer defects? How can we create faster cycle times? How can we lower costs? How can we improve customer outcomes? How can we reduce risk? How can we increase capability? And how can we heighten mission performance? Because when somebody says we need AI, our first response should not necessarily be, well, which variants, which platform. It should really be about driving the conversation at the C-suite and beyond about what problem are we really trying to solve? What's happening today that we don't want to happen? What do we want to happen going forward? Where is our gap? How will we know we're improving outcomes? And only then should we be asking whether AI actually belongs in that solution. So otherwise, we may end up with a remarkably sophisticated answer to a question that nobody needed to ask at all. So let's talk about the AI hype cycle meets the quality professional. AI has a phenomenal vocabulary. Faster, smarter, autonomous, transformational, revolutionary. And quality professionals have their answering response vocabulary too, that meets AI where it is today, especially in light of the governance and the ethics and the security related issues that are being uncovered day by day. Is it accurate? Is it operationally standardized and repeatable? Is it capable of getting the outcomes that we stated we wanted? Can we control it in such a manner so we don't get unintended consequences negatively impacting our enterprise? Is it traceable? Is it measurable? And most of all, is it safe to operationalize within our organizations? Quality professionals are not trying to ruin the AI party. We're just making sure the balcony is meeting its load limit. And that distinction matters because quality, especially in this day and age of a non-stop innovation, cannot become the department of no in the AI era. Our job is not to walk into every innovative conversation and explain why something cannot work. Because innovation requires us to ask, what could we do? How could we look at this differently? How could we amplify the power of AI to drive value for our external stakeholders as well as our internal enterprise. So quality does ask and should ask, what would have to be true for it to work safely and reliably within our organization? And leadership asks, how will it create measurable value for our organization and our stakeholders or stockholders? And really, we need all three of those voices at the table. And too often, they're not there. AI needs people willing to imagine what is possible. But organizations also need people willing to ask whether those possibilities are reliable, controlled, safe, measurable, and sustainable. Innovation expands possibility, but quality enables possibility to be operationalized and to be done so dependently and reliably and safely. So plot twist, we've been training for AI for decades in the quality arena. And here's where this gets really interesting. We could just do a compare contrast. Right now, AI needs reliable data. And our quality professionals say, bring it, right? We got the measurement tools, techniques, and frameworks for you because we've been doing measurement systems for decades. AI needs model validation. And quality raises their hand and says, fantastic, we can help you because we are steeped in statistical thinking and approaches. AI says, well, we need process discipline. And quality professionals say, no problem. Not only can we do process, we can do process management. We can identify, we can evaluate, we can integrate so that it's automated in such a manner and standardized in such a manner to amplify the optimization results when we automate. AI needs risk control. And quality says, I've got you. We have an FMEA and risk management. We've got you covered. We can examine second, third, fourth order impacts, model those, create an enterprise top-down risk management model, and give you tools to help you ascertain from requirements through operational deployment and beyond mechanisms to remediate as much risk as possible. And AI needs error investigation. Quality says we're on it. Root cause analysis, we are excellent as. We have many different models, many different frameworks, many different tools and techniques. We can meet you where you're at. AI says we need monitoring. Quality professionals say no problem. We have statistical process control. We are gold in this area. And we have the different tools to help organizations understand, again, meeting them where they're at. What statistical data and methodologies will help them move forward the most? How can we drive insights from the data that they are already collecting and using to bring an aha moment to our exec teams? How can we show them through the lens of their operational life cycle where the biggest opportunities for AI to be deployed and harnessed to that. AI needs governance. Quality says no problem. Not only do we have the ability to harness our standards in this area, we can build the QMSs in our sleep and operate them and report from them. AI says we need improvement, and quality says no problem. We've got a very rich history of PDCA, PDSA, DMAIC. We've got the models and the frameworks and the ability to translate those into layperson terms. So no matter who we're working with across the enterprise and organizations, we can speak their language. AI needs evidence. Well, quality says we've got that. We can do audits, we can do validation, we can do verification and meld that with the rest of the life cycle data that we're collecting and analyzing, reporting on for all of the prior steps, and we can help them make an AI solution that goes beyond their immediate needs. At this point, quality professionals should be looking around our virtual world, and your enterprise is asking, are you people just reading our job descriptions? This is perfect. So, because here's the plot twist, AI may be new, but the management and technological problems surrounding AI aren't. And therefore, quality professionals have spent decades learning how to distinguish symptoms from root causes, investigate variation, establish controls, verify requirements, measure capabilities, prevent failures, and continuously improve and innovate on our technological integrated systems. AI didn't replace quality, but AI is finally making everybody else realize why quality matters so much now. So AI is a process, just like everything else we work with within our organizations and enterprises. It is not a magic box. Sometimes AI gets presented as that quintessential black box. Data goes into this mysterious box, artificial intelligence happens, and wonderful outcomes emerge from the other side across the enterprise and the organization. And wouldn't that be lovely if we could just wave our magic AI wand and say, I want a better operating organization. We want safer cyber controls and automated decisioning so we never have to have an operational interruption that's cyber oriented again. We want to understand what our privacy impacts are for everything that we're doing. And we want a short list of everything that will help us remediate those issues. We want to understand what is the impact of a policy change throughout the rest of our enterprise and organization. We want to understand how we can better utilize our workforce. Do we need to upskill them? Do we need to change their position focus so that we elevate them up so they can better harness AI for the mission area they are within? Right, there are so many utilizations of AI for efficiencies and optimizations, and it's not a black box. And artificial intelligence, it just doesn't happen, creating wonderful outcomes. We have to focus on the value that it's going to bring either to our external organizations, but oftentimes what we need to do from a readiness internally first. And so in reality, it looks a lot more like what you see on the screen. Inputs, AI models, outputs, decisioning that occurs from that, actioning, and then downstream outcomes, either positive or negative, right? Either we're going to be generating value or we're going to be creating mayhem. And it's somewhere in between that continuum. And it's up to us quality professionals to understand what could possibly go wrong with this process. And we're great at this because underneath every one of those steps, as we're looking to understand requirements, understand the end states, understand the prioritized value proposition, and then engineer, integrate, and operationalize. We have to be asking the right questions of the people whom are trying to source, qualify, integrate, and eventually feel. Because quality professionals bring to the table data quality background, assumption challenging, a way to understand bias in many different perspectives. They know how to model behavior. They know how to integrate the human aspects of the enterprise and organization with technology. They know how to do process integration, and they really know how to forecast potential unintended consequences. So there's a lot of opportunities for very interesting things to happen, both positively and negatively. The model might work perfectly and the decision can still be wrong. The output might be accurate, but the human in the loop may be misinterpreting it. The AI may perform exactly as designed, and yet the process into which we have inserted it may be fundamentally flawed or broken. So that's why quality professionals bring such an important perspective. The AI model is part of a larger ecosystem. It is not the end all be all. And quality professionals and as a profession has always been strongest when we look holistically at that entire ecosystem. So what happens when DMAIC meets AI? Tonight I'm introducing what to some of us are two old friends who probably should have met many decades ago. So AI meets DMAIC and DMAIC meets AI because I think they're going to get along beautifully. So from DMAIC standpoint, we have a define, and we can look at this through the lens of, again, what business problem are we actually solving? Who is going to be most affected? What is in scope for this particular technological deployment? And most of all, what does success look like? Because frankly, define alone, if we went through that synopsis, could probably eliminate a surprising number of potential AI projects people have and are actively working on their books today. Then as we move to the measure components, well, what's the baseline? If AI is novel and new and we don't have a baseline of automation, how do we create actual versus expected, especially when defining what success looks like? And then how do we look at what's happening today without it, with what's happening tomorrow with it? How long should it take? What should our error rates be? What does great or even good actually look like or mean to us within our organizations. Because if we don't know today's performance baseline, how exactly are we going to calculate, calibrate, and then celebrate tomorrow's improvement, which we're aiming at? Then the A, analyze. What can drive errors, bias, variation, or failure? Not what we think causes it, not what the loudest proponent of AI, either an executive or a person or a salesperson in the meeting thinks might be causing it. But what do we know that the organization or enterprise has collected evidence-wise, and what is the ecosystem learned that we can ingest so that as we're moving through this qualification cycle, we can benefit from the intelligence and wisdom that already exists within that organization. So improve our eye. We need to test. We need to tune. We need to redesign. We need to validate. We need to pilot. We need to compare, and we need to learn as we move through this, because as we're improving and innovating within our enterprises and organizations, we can be doing the real time tuning continuously of the technologies as we're piloting and deploying them. And then lastly, control. And that oftentimes looks like monitoring performance, examining drift, remediating risks, and amplifying positive outcomes. Because deploying AI is not the finish lines. In many ways, when we're finally to the point of integrating it into our organizational and enterprise infrastructure, is when the real quality hard work begins. So AI teams may call this AI lifecycle management, and quality professionals call it DMAIC, with considerably more computing power. So the question that everyone forgot to ask AI, and that's the question that can save us millions of dollars. And that's really, what does winning with AI in our enterprise and organizations actually look like? Is it about heightened accuracy, 5 nines? Is it about faster decisioning? Is it about lowering costs? Is it about better customer outcomes? Is it about error reduction, risk reduction, heightening adoption, revenue? It might be several or all of those things over our AI life cycle. But what we need to do is define those upfront so that we know what we're aiming at and we're building to. Because the model works and the organization improved doesn't get us the win, because we can't measure those either quantitatively or qualitatively. And so imagine if somebody announced our AI is 5 nines% accurate, and our quality professional is going to go immediately, accurate at what? Right? So we don't want to ruin their lunch, but what happens in that perceptional other 1%, right? Our quality professionals are going to challenge these very key assumptions and make our organizations define what it is they're after so we can help them get there. So if an AI solution recommends a movie that you might hate, You might have lost 2 hours in your life. Maybe irritating, but really survivable. But if that 1% non-accuracy affects cybersecurity, our financial systems within our organization, our workforce and leadership safety, our basic employment for our contractors and employees, our technological infrastructure, if it upsets our healthcare life cycle, delivery life cycle, and especially if it's interruptive of our mission critical operations, we will be having a completely different conversation with the many levels of government, law enforcement, organizational executives, cybersecurity experts, etc. Because if we cannot define success up front, AI can be completely technically impressive to show that our organization and enterprise has technical chops, and it may be operationally useless for the use case and scenario that may matter most to our customers and our enterprise. So we have to define well up front. So let's talk about one thing, and that's SPC has entered our AI chat room. AI has discovered something called the model drift. Sounds sophisticated, but when quality professionals hear model drift and think, well, something changed, we would be completely right. Although the things that are changing is like quantum, constantly, different data, different customers, different behaviors, different conditions, different environments, different outcomes, all at the same time. So we've been staring at control charts asking what changed for generations. So while the AI terminology may be different, the logic is completely familiar to quality professionals. We need to establish an expected performance baseline. We need to learn how to best monitor against that baseline. We need to learn and implement mechanisms to detect signals, like our old instrumentation. We need to distinguish between meaningful variations. We need to learn how to investigate in the moment key anomalies. We need to intervene when necessary, and then we need to not stop operational mechanisms so that we continue monitoring the second, third, fourth order impacts that are happening downstream. So yesterday's excellent AI model, when it meets tomorrow's or maybe this evening's different world, suddenly performance changes at a very rapid pace. We wouldn't validate a manufacturing process once and say, excellent, we're now done with this process forever. So why would we want to do that with AI? Validation is simply one event across a life cycle, but control is continuous, and quality professionals already understand how to do that. So the AI addition of root cause analysis. Here is the scenario. AI in our AI lifecycle presented earlier produces a bad recommendation, which caused great negative impact in the organization. So we have an emergency meeting. Somebody announces that AI project failed. Well, and our quality professionals quietly step in and ask, well, how do you know? How do you know the AI project failed? Where? When? What? How? Where did you find out something failed? Was it in the data that was ingested or created? Was it the model? Was it the prompt? Was it the integration? Was it the decisioning process? Was it the user or the person operating on that decision or actioning that decision? Was it the core policy that we gave it or trained? Was it the training process itself? Was it the governance that we used to integrate and deploy? And this one may hurt the technologist's feelings. Did the AI correctly execute exactly what we told it to? And might we have made some incorrect assumptions so that we asked it to do an incorrect thing? And this is happening more often than we'd like to admit everywhere across the globe, because it's hard with this level of technological complexity to know what we don't know. And this is where our quality discipline becomes so enormously valuable, because we don't stop at the AI project failed. We use our 5 whys tools. We use Ishikawa diagrams. We use fault trees. We use Pareto analysis. We use process mapping. And we use evidence to tell the story. We ask what happened. We ask why it happened. And again, we repeat until why and why and why. And yes, as quality professionals, you are allowed to ask it 5 times. AI does not eliminate root cause analysis. What it gives quality professionals and enterprises and organizations is much more interesting roots to actually analyze on. So FMEA, perhaps to the rescue before AI learns to say, hold my beer, please. Because here's our groundbreaking responsible AI governance framework. Are they ready? What can fail? How badly can it fail? How likely is it that it will fail? How likely is it that we can detect it? And if we do, what are we going to do about it? So if you look at that, that's FMEA in a nutshell. So sometimes innovation isn't inventing a brand new framework to ensure that we're doing the right thing with our technological innovations. Sometimes innovation is in the realization that a framework we've trusted for decades applies beautifully to the brand new problems that we're creating through our somewhat unstructured implementation and integration of these novel technologies. So suppose the failure mode is an incorrect recommendation. The effect is a poor decision. The cause is incomplete or poor quality data. Detection would then come through monitoring and validation, and the control might be human review or escalation. And what happens then? Congratulations, quality professionals and experts, because now we're doing responsible AI life cycles. Quality gives organizations permission to imagine failure before failure occurs. That's not pessimism. That's just phenomenal engineering. So what might be the most expensive AI mistake? And here's one of the fastest ways to create that failure. And that's to take a bad process and attempt to automate it through AI. Bad processes plus AI is not equal to enterprise transformation. It just equals crap at machine speed. So imagine a process, 17 approvals, 9 spreadsheets, 6 handoffs, 4 meetings, 3 signatures, 2 systems that aren't fully integrated and can't talk to each other yet on an automated basis, and 1 person who we're going to name Brenda, who actually knows how that whole patchwork quilt process works end to end. And every organization has that Brenda. They know that really step 14 happens before step 9. They know why there are 6 hidden columns in the spreadsheet. They know which number you're actually supposed to call when the system says approved, but absolutely nothing happens. And then let's say someone mistakenly, without knowledge of Brenda, says, let's AI enable this. And we as quality professionals need to raise and pull on that red rope and say, no, 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 no. Before we automate, we need to ask, what should we be eliminating? What should we be simplifying? What should we be standardizing? What should humans be augmenting? And then only then, what should we eliminate? Or excuse me, what should we be automating? So we need to eliminate, simplify, standardize, augment, and then automate. So we don't want to use AI to make nonsense faster, but we do want to collect everything that's in Brenda's head so we can get to success. So what does this teach us? It teaches us that the human really needs to be embedded into the system. We hear this phrase constantly now, a human in the loop. Don't worry. Well, wonderful, but we sometimes forget to ask which humans, which loops, what information do those humans receive? What don't they see that they need to make their decisions on? Do they have the proper training and understanding of AI's limitation and what they're even supposed to be looking for to know if they have a problem or a solution on their hands? What can they do to override it? When should they intervene? And what happens when the human and the AI disagree? And another favorite point for quality professionals is going to be, then who's ultimately accountable? Putting a little stick figure beside the AI box on an architecture diagram does not constitute real governance. Human oversight has to be designed in, just like quality, across the life cycle, because AI doesn't operate as simply as model plus data. It operates inside people and integrated policies through an informed ingestion and operationalization of platforms into many and across many platforms, hopefully to enhance and amplify the performance to drive value. So our people need training, our processes need control, our policies need greater clarity. Our platforms definitely need heightened assurance mechanisms, and our performance needs qualitative and quantitative measurement, because accountability cannot disappear simply because an algorithm was implemented into the workflow. So the human doesn't just need to be in the loop. The human needs to understand what the loop is doing so they can take informed action. So where does that leave us? That really leaves us from moving from trust me to show me. For years, in prior automation cycles and innovation cycles, organizations could sometimes get away with saying, trust us, because we were able to generate an evidentiary or audit trail that allowed that trust to occur over time and for us to reach certain confidence levels. But AI is increasingly producing that black box effect where we need a different response to this accountability conundrum. And that is show me your homework. Show me how you validated it. Show me where the data came from. Show me the provenance. Show me the controls that were operated on. Show me how we're monitoring it and measuring it. Show me the documentation that we use to make that decision. Show me the audit trail post-operation, and show me what happens when our process fails. And lastly, show me who remains accountable across that life cycle. I know you heard quality professionals everywhere thinking, you want documentation? We have been preparing our entire lives for this moment. Can we do this? But maybe we should not give them all the documentation that all of you created across your lives, because that might be a little much. Let's not make their heads explode. But the principle still matters, because trust is not a feeling. In the operational systems, trust requires evidence. And quality professionals have spent their careers turning trust me into show me's. And they can become one of our greatest strategic contributors to operationalizing responsible AI. Let's look at a use case or a case study, the $5 million AI system that nobody uses. So, hypothetical, your organization spends $5 million implementing an AI decision support system. Technically excellence, 95% accurate, delivered on time, passes all the testing, but yet 6 months later, our adoption rate is 17%. Successful. Well, if you talk to the technologies, they're going to say, of course, look at these numbers. We have everything. We have our accuracy, we delivered, it passed all of our assurance mechanisms. Of course, we're gold. Operationally, no. With a 17% adoption rate, we have to go look at why. Is it because, why did the employees and the enterprise and the organization not trust it and utilize it? Perhaps nobody redesigned the most important workflow that would have answered the mail for the majority of the people, putting Pareto into action. Perhaps our workforce wasn't trained on how to utilize it. And therefore, it was too complex for them to utilize for their use case or scenario. Maybe the recommendations made to a very technological savvy portion of the organization wasn't understandable by our lay people across the enterprise. Maybe leadership never explained the value proposition and why it mattered so much. Maybe employees created workarounds. And maybe, just maybe, the technology actually created more work versus less work. So a technically excellent solution that hardly anybody uses creates very little value for the organization. The treadmill in our basements might work perfectly too, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're getting any healthier. That's why quality must expand beyond product quality and technical quality. We need system quality, experience quality, decision quality, adoption quality, outcome quality, ecosystem integrated quality, because ultimately quality has to reach all the way through the value proposition to the outcomes and results that are actually occurring across the enterprise. So now, you as quality professionals now have a new AI job description. And this is where I want you quality professionals to stop being modest. Look in the mirror, because evolution is on your side and you are now the golden child of our organizations. We are moving from inspector to architect, because we're not now simply expecting what someone else built. We can help architect systems that produce quality from the beginning. We're moving from auditor to advisor. We're not just identifying what went wrong, we're helping leaders understand what must be designed correctly before implementation. We're moving from problem solver to risk anticipator. We don't wait for the incident. We identify all the failure modes before the failure even occurs. We move from process improver to AI process designer. We can help determine where AI belongs in the workflow, where it doesn't, what might want to remain human, and what controls are absolutely necessary. And perhaps the biggest evolution of all, from quality manager to enterprise trust leader, because AI needs people who understand measurement, processes, variation, risk, governance, evidence, failure, customer systems, and continuous improvement. Does that job description sound familiar? Yes, because quality belongs upstream. Don't wait until somebody has to spend $5 million building an AI system and then ask, can quality validate this by tomorrow, by Friday? Get involved when the problem is defined, when requirements are being established, when the metrics are being selected, when the risks are being identified, when the controls are being designed. And most of all, don't wait for an AI invitation. Pull up a chair to the quality table. So the 5 questions for you to take back to your organization on Monday or tomorrow if you're very ambitious. Someone may come into a meeting and announce, we have an amazing AI idea, excellence. Ask 5 questions. Number 1, what problem are we actually solving? And if the answer is we need AI, we have a great deal, we have AI, we can get it started today. Tell them no. Start the conversation again. What problem are you actually solving? Number 2, how will we measure whether AI made our outcomes better? What's the baseline? What's the target? And what's the meaningful measure? Number 3, what could fail and how would we know? We need to think technologically, operationally, organizationally, ethically, and most of all, humanly. Number 4, who remains accountable when AI influences the decision? Because accountability cannot be delegated to an algorithm. And most of all, number 5, how will we continuously monitor and improve it? Because if the team gives you thoughtful answers, congratulations. You may have an AI initiative you can move. But if the room suddenly becomes fascinated with their own shoes, you probably just have an AI enthusiasm projects. And those 5 questions you give them can help turn AI enthusiasm into disciplined execution. Therefore, we now have a 30-day challenge for each of you. Choose one AI use case. Please do not leave here tonight without one, walk into your work tomorrow and announce, we're transforming the entire enterprise with AI. Just kidding. Your coworkers will hide, but instead you might want to choose one problem, one real problem that you're facing, a measurable one, something important enough to the enterprise to matter, but small enough to still learn from. We used to call them pilots. And then do something radical. Use what you already know. Define, measure, analyze, improve, control. Define the problem. Help them define the problem. Help them establish the baseline. Help them understand what's driving the current performance. Help them test whether AI improves it. Help them validate the results. Help them measure the difference. And most of all, help them put controls around what works so it can become repeatable. And here's what's most important. If your experiment proves that AI didn't improve their outcome, that is still a very successful experiment because you've learned something that may save them from spending $5 million. The goal isn't to prove AI works. The goal is to discover where AI creates measurable value for your enterprise and where it doesn't. Small experiments, big learning, lots of evidence before they scale. Very much heightened quality, very AI, and very little drama. So the punchline, after all of our analysis, measurement, statistical thinking, process management, FMEA, root cause analysis, SBC, governance, and extremely rigorous scientific inquiry, I have reached a highly sophisticated and technical conclusion. And that is AI so needs you quality professionals because innovation without discipline creates risk. Quality without innovation creates stagnation. But put the two together, and what we have is sustainable AI-driven transformation. AI can give organizations extraordinary speed, scale, automation, prediction, and possibility. Quality brings the discipline, validation, control, reliability, evidence, and assurance. AI can help us move faster, but quality helps make sure we're moving in the right direction. So perhaps the question isn't whether quality professionals belong in the AI conversation. The question is why anyone thought we could have had the conversation without each and every one of you. So it is now our time to do Q&A. And since we have 2 minutes, we're going to have one question. So let's see in the chat here what you might have stated. Is there one brave soul that has a question that they'd like to ask for tonight? Or we will go to our close. So my challenge again to you is, where are you as quality professionals already contributing? What are the AI entry points inside your organization that you can capitalize on right now? Where is AI and quality not integrated but should be? And what are you seeing that concerns you? What quality tools are you already using that could translate directly into an AI implementation? And perhaps most importantly, what can you do differently tomorrow? Because knowledge without application is just a webinar. And we're the ASQ Innovation Division. We're supposed to experiment. So ask the questions, challenge the assumptions, share what's working, share what's failing, because the organizations that figure this out aren't going to do it by pretending they have all the answers. They're going to test, measure, learn, improve, and share. And you know what? That sounds exactly, suspiciously like what quality actually is. So thank you so much for spending this evening with the ASQ Innovation Division and with me. And thank you for being willing to have some fun while we tackle what is actually a very serious issue. I want you to leave tonight remembering one thing. Don't just learn about AI, put quality around it. Find one real problem, apply AI thoughtfully, establish the baseline, challenge the assumptions, validate the output, protect the human, measure the results, and learn from what happened. And don't measure whether AI was impressive, measure whether quality was improved and we reached our objectives, because the future of AI won't be determined simply by who builds the most powerful models. It will be determined by those who turn models into reliable processes, better decisions, controlled risk, measurable outcomes, and trusted systems. This is not just an AI challenge. This is a quality challenge, and that means we still have a lot of work to do. And remember, AI called, and it really wants its quality department back. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm just going to give you our next ending, and that is thank you on the behalf of the ASQ Innovation Division and all of our officers, Ms. Jackie Jolly, Ms. Sonia Montera, Mr. Bora Bualia, Mr. Tracy Owens, and myself as your webinar chair for 2026. If you are interested in joining our team for 2026 and beyond, you can contact Ms. Jackie Jolly and Ms. Sonia Montera for information on how you can positively impact the Innovation Division and beyond. And we invite you back September, October, November, December for a fantastic rest of our year, where we'll be bringing you fantastic innovation webinars, and we invite you to sign up as a speaker in 2027, a volunteer, or just to share your AI journey with us. Again, this is Dr. Rhonda Farrell signing off for ASQ Innovation, and we invite you back on September 24th. Have a safe rest of your week and weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.